All right. Um, I'm here for a 6 week update, post PRP injection update. So 6 weeks ago, I received two PRP injections in two tendons on my right knee, one being the quadricep tendon and one being the patellar tendon. And so, kind of what I wanted to go over today was, hey, how did my 6 week checkup with the doc that performed the procedure go, which happened earlier today? How am I feeling? What have I been up to? And what the future holds, right? And so, I've created kind of a video series on this, starting from pre-procedure to recovery and all that stuff, right? So all this came on by an overuse injury. It was diagnosed initially as tendinitis, then tendinosis, tendinopathy. Those words were kind of thrown around a bunch. But the specialist that does the PRP injections was able to ultrasound my tendons on my right knee and identify, hey, you got tears in both of these tendons that's causing the pain that you're having, which for me was like, hey, every pedal stroke I'm taking, my right knee hurts. Hey, when I'm going up and down stairs, my right knee hurts. When I'm doing various other activities, my right knee hurts, right? And so, good news from today's appointment or checkup. So the doc compared the ultrasound from the initial consult to how my quadricep and patellar tendons are looking today, and he indicated that for my quadricep tendon, things appear to be about 90% healed, and for my patellar tendon, 100% healed. And so the way that he determined that was to say, hey, do these tears still exist? And as he showed me in the past, the tears kind of show up in the ultrasound as these dark spots or oval shaped kind of darkened spots, right? And so the way or the reason he said the quadricep tendon was 90% healed is because he said, hey, we can see a regeneration of tissue where that tear previously existed, but the tendon itself hasn't completely regrown. He said that what's going to be important for me moving forward in these weeks and months is to begin exercising, and that exercise and that engagement of the quadricep muscle and the associated tendon is going to help fully repair that tendon. So that, I guess, transitioning that tissue that's developed into full-fledged tendon again. I'm not the medical expert there. There was some terminology thrown around in the consult today that unfortunately I don't directly recall, but that was the gist of it, saying, hey, 90% healed today. We think we can get you to 100%, very confident that I can get you to 100%. It's just going to require a little bit more work on your part. And during the initial consult, he did indicate sometimes certain patients will need to have more than one PRP injection. But today he was saying, hey, this looks like you're going to be one and done and on your way, right? So that was positive news, right? That was really, really good to see. And I think that that kind of bleeds into the how am I feeling conversation, right? And I would say, as of like a week ago, I was really questioning whether or not this PRP injection really did anything at all. So I was, if you recall in some of my earlier videos, I was saying, hey, there's a lot of stiffness, a lot of swelling, discomfort in walking around. That has since faded away, but even up until about a week ago, I was still getting some pain in my knee that was pretty much exactly the same as things were prior to the PRP injection. So going up and down stairs, getting out of bed, getting up off the toilet, getting up off the ground, going from a squatting position, playing with my kid to getting up off the ground. It's still like, oh man, that knee pain is still there. What the heck? What did I do? And so, on a positive note, within the last 4 or 5 days, it's almost, I don't know, I have a hard time saying it out loud, but it's almost like a light switch, in that got out of bed and going up and down the stairs is like, oh, I don't notice any discomfort, and that's been a really pleasant surprise. It has been a very short period of time since it's felt like that. So I really, say this with caution, and really I think that I am cautiously optimistic of, oh, things are actually finally starting to feel a little bit better, right? And I think that maybe what plays into that in part is that I've been doing physical therapy for about 3 weeks, right? So as far as what I've been up to, the physical therapy bit has been intensive. I don't know if that's the best word, or more a better way to say that is I've been really committed to it, right? And so uh, going to do physical therapy once a week, get a bunch of homework, and then I've been fully committed to that homework, right? Where the PT has said, hey, if you can do this 2, even 3 times a day on a regular basis, you're gonna improve. This is gonna be really beneficial for you. And the types of exercises are focusing on strengthening like certain muscle groups in my quads, and then trying to strengthen adjacent muscles, working on balance as well. So working on like hips and glutes and hamstrings and those types of things, and then doing a lot of using a roller, a tiger tail roller on my quads, right? So I think that I mentioned in the past that there's an indication that my quads are super tight. Like, oh man, it feels like, you just finished like a big race or a big event or something, but in fact, you've just been sitting on the couch or whatever, right? And so, dedication to using that tiger tail roller on my quads 3 times a day for like the last 2.5 weeks. And in addition to that, I've actually went and got my first sports massage, deep tissue sports massage from a masseuse that's focused on people that are recovering from injuries, right? And so that was uncomfortable, absolutely. But the intent was, hey, any sort of stiffness, any sort of knots that this individual encounters, he's going to work on them and work them out, right? So I've been very dedicated to the process. I'm going to continue to have weekly PT appointments for the next 5 weeks or so, and I'm scheduled to get reoccurring massage as well for the next 5 weeks or so as well. So I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it, right? And part of this is based on, talking to my PT and saying, hey, middle of July, I have this goal. I want to ride in this mountain bike race, 100-mile, 10,000-foot ride. Is this even reasonable? Is this even achievable, right? And so her feedback is, I'm right on the bubble, essentially, right? So I'm looking at about 20 weeks to go from inactive recovery at this point to being able to ride a bike for 12 hours or whatever it ends up being, right? And so there's a lot that needs to happen. And she said that essentially that as long as things continue to progress and you don't have setbacks, it is doable, right? So kind of the phases of it are really recovery and repair, and that's going to be around my knee continuing to get better, doing more strengthening exercises, working on building muscle and adjacent muscle groups, getting that into a good spot, which is kind of a prerequisite for getting back on the bike and having any sort of relative intensity on the bike, which would then help me get base fitness on the bike. And then after getting base fitness on the bike, actually being able to build on top of that. And so as far as endurance, intensity, and those types of things, right? And so that in part probably has me fully committed to the process of doing my daily homework and the exercises and stretching and rolling and massaging and all that stuff that I need to do. If that means, hey, I can participate in this event. Another thing that she'd mentioned that was a good change in my perspective was I originally thought of the event as either yes, I can do it, or no, I cannot do it. And the way that she phrased it was, hey, plan to do it, but have an out. So listen to your body. And if there comes a point in time where you are in pain, things are hurting again, something isn't going right, don't push it, and have an out, right? And so for me, I think that's a positive, right? Yes, there would be disappointment in not being able to finish, but there's also just a lot of I think that it'll just be exciting to be able to participate in the at all, right? And so you think of the excitement of picking up your race packet, seeing the course all set up, seeing the starting line all set up, seeing the vendors, being around other riders, the whole process, preparation, having your gear and your fueling and all that stuff um, I think is a really cool way to think about it. So that's definitely going to be a change in my perspective moving forward, and also just being realistic of knowing that my 20-week timeline from where I am today to where I need to be, um, this is going to be hard to achieve, at least in my mind, right? And that it's possible that I won't be exactly where I want to be come the middle of July, right? So that's kind of where my head's at. I've had, as far as doing some exercise on the bike, previous weeks I've done 20 minutes at 50 watts. That was my whole ride. Today, for example, I was able to do 30 minutes, starting out at 50 watts, then going to 75, then going to 100. And I either did 100 or 125 watts for 20 minutes, which in the grand scheme of things, for any sort of relatively fit cyclist, you would say like, oh, that's nothing, right? But for me, I would say that was an achievement. This is the first time I've been able to break a sweat on a bike without my knee hurting, right? Which is really cool. And so that's where I'm at, right? I think that if I say, hey, was PRP worth it? It's still a question mark, right? I think that combining PRP with PT and being really conscious about listening to my body, I think is probably, and with massage, is I think maybe a more powerful winning combination than maybe just focusing on any single one of those activity types, right? So the jury's out on PRP. Obviously the feedback was positive in the appointment that I had today. Obviously my body or my knee is starting to feel a little bit better. I have very busy days with trying to do all this PT on top of my day job and being a dad and a husband and everything else. But I like a challenge, right? And so, I'm looking forward to continuing to stick to this process, and kind of see where it takes me, right? So that's my update. Um, Hoping to have more good news in the coming weeks, coming months. My goal is to be able to create some content here, video that has me actually outside on a bike. Whoa, that would be cool. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.